current responses to climate change are to build more electric cars or reduce emissions from power plants. All good ideas. But what about CO2 from those trucks on the road yesterday, and last week, and last year? What about power plants that didn't get scrubbers on their smokestacks? That's a gift that keeps on giving. It accumulates with every mile you drive and every breath you exhale. We need to clean, scrub, remediate the excess CO2. It's only good housekeeping. We made the mess. It's our responsibility to clean it up. Rather than ask, how do we stop this? We ask, how can we use this? Answering this question lets us consider alternative goals and solutions. We need to understand the real value of CO2. CO2 is necessary for life on Earth, but too much of a good thing can be deadly. We're going to change the rules. CO2 is not the enemy. We're putting it back to work as a building block for life, using the planet's original design to harness it as the breath of life. This is where our project begins, where we can make a powerful change within the carbon matrix. We're going to be a reset button for our atmosphere. Our plan goes back to the beginning, to restore an existing natural system without carving up our remaining wilderness, demanding that civilization give up technology or any real changes to business as usual. There's more CO2 in our atmosphere than is healthy for humans. That's a fact. The increase from historical healthy levels is due to human activity. That's a fact too. That it can be returned to healthy levels by human activity is also a fact, and we know how. Earth is said to have been the Garden of Eden, our first home. That the solution we offer is found in a garden is so appropriate. As with most things, you start at the bottom, the beginning. Understanding soil and its use are fundamental concepts of regenerative agriculture and guiding principles for restoration of our atmosphere. Our plan for biological carbon capture using regenerative agriculture is an ambitious design combining many ideas, some well known as normal farming management, others not even associated with farming. Biological carbon capture is simply growing soil, but in reality is far from simple in a farming system that is broken. Combining ancient land management with cutting-edge technology as a guiding hand, the cycle of life restores the land with the breath of life, CO2 that has returned to the soil as pure carbon. Farming as usual has come to mean enormous, monoculture, chemically addicted, deceptively green wastelands. How can they be wastelands and yet be green? The soil is dead, void of its necessary microbial life. Diversity in plants are called weeds, and animal and insect populations have suffered devastating loss of habitat. Many fruit farmers use rent-a-bee companies bringing beehives by the truckloads to pollinate their flowering crops. Why? Most of the local bees are dead, killed by pesticides and the obsessive need for the perfect apple, or the real need for an extra bushel per acre to pay the mortgage. Regenerative agriculture with support technology restore the soil supported by the diversity of plants, animals, and insects of a healthy ecosystem. Farming is no longer about the basics, soil. It's easier to use fertilizer, pesticide, fungicide, and harvest vegetables lacking nutrients. Nutrients supplied by soil microbes. No microbes, no healthy fibered vegetables, only tasteless tomatoes on your burger. A lot of food has been grown, but at what cost? Regenerative agriculture is viewed as a step back in productivity, obstructive to large-scale farming, but it doesn't have to be. The principles of diversity, soil health, and productivity hold true regardless of scale. Our plan is a symbiotic cycle of interdependent pieces, like a puzzle. Omit one and the cycle collapses. This symbiotic cycle is different from anything done before because nothing is taken for granted, rushed or omitted because it's inconvenient to a rapid harvest. The growth of each piece supports the whole. This is not an instant phenomenon like microwave popcorn. The growth of each piece triggers the next response and connection with the expanding cycle until the basic cycle is integrated and complete. These interdependent pieces were not considered important. They were just normal components of farming, so basic that they were taken for granted in the expanding scientific study of the natural world. Ignoring the wisdom of master farmers and with the justified desire to feed as many people as possible has broken an entire natural system, replacing it with carefully designed substitutes that flower, fruit, and harvest like clockwork. Over time, soil becomes compacted, resistant to water and air penetration. The microbial community dies from oxygen starvation. Correction of the very soil structure is required and justified by the necessity of increasing soil respiration. Using large tractors and deep subsoiling implements from road construction, it's possible and imperative to deeply fracture the compacted layers of soil, opening it to water penetration, fresh air, and soil respiration. Correcting soil balance and structure takes breaking surface compaction, creating a seedbed for deep-rooted grasses and dynamic growth with cattle, poultry, honey, vegetables, and fruit. All parts of the cycle give more than economic value. They're active pieces of the symbiotic cycle with their unique signature and strength. They should never be considered separately or as optional. Each is a necessary link in the chain that binds CO2 into the earth. With these pieces in place, the farm settles into motion, idling while the new pastures grow. It takes 3 years for the grass to mature, ready for the cattle to graze. 3 years gives the symbiotic cycle a period of rest, maturing while the pastures grow, finding their place in the cycle, ready for the next step, enabling the different processes within the system to prepare for accelerated growth. 3 years might seem like a long time in the impatient world of men, but in the cycle of life, it's a necessary moment of preparation for the cattle herd to graze across the matured pasture. The farm cycle of accelerated carbon capture is fully engaged, not with a roar, but a satisfied hum of contentment, growing deeper soil, completing the CO2 cycle at an increasing rate as the soil opens and deep soil respiration is re-established. A slumbering giant has awakened. Using every accelerating factor we have researched, we intend to enhance the rate of topsoil creation profoundly, and that is why this plan works. It's extremely precise. The components and their placement require a unique system of installation. With the full prescription in place, the results are not only good, but great. The prescription is tailored to each site. No two places on Earth are exactly the same. The unique characteristics of each location will be documented, enhanced, and allowed to flourish. This is not just a farm investment or an adventure in the field, but also an invitation into the green revolution to change the world.